Welcome back to Turnbuckle Trash Talk. This is a new segment called the Turnbuckle Turnpike to WrestleMania. It's kind of our Road to WrestleMania update show. We're going to talk about Raw, Smackdown from this week. We're going to kind of highlight what's coming next week. This isn't a results show. This isn't anything where we're just going to run down the card and tell you every single thing that happened. But we did pick out a few things that we want to update you guys on. If you're not up to date on WWE, this is a great resource. We're going to pack it into a good 20-25 minutes and tell you everything you need to know. Maybe 10 minutes. Yeah. Everything you need to know this week in WWE. So I think the biggest news coming out of Raw and SmackDown this week was Becky Lynch. She, on Monday, officially got suspended for her injury until she sees the doctor, which resulted in her attacking Stephanie McMahon. Then, following on SmackDown, she was confronted, or she came out unexpectedly to interrupt Charlotte Flair during a promo where Charlotte was trying to say she should take Becky's spot in the WrestleMania match against Ronda Rousey. Triple H came out, told her to go see the doctor. Becky refused. Triple H said, oh, she's just scared of Ronda. And so she's trying to make up with excuses so she looks tough so she doesn't have to fight in the match, referencing the convenience of her getting her face broken by Nia Jax to get out of the original Ronda Rousey match, which ended up in Becky slapping Triple H. And now, this week, surprise, surprise, we're finding out the McMahons invited Becky to Raw. What are your guys' thoughts about that overall?
Bobby Lashley said he can beat Brock Lesnar in an octagon, and that's bullshit.
There you go.
R-Truth's winning next year Royal Rumble.
Okay, so I think obviously the check-in right now, Becky is going to be in that main event match.
So hold on, can we let's not just blow past that, because I think the WWE has a question on their mind. The question is this: is do they? Clearly, Ronda Rousey's one of the people in the main event. It's clear that's what's going to get them on the cover of USA Today, just like Jay Leno did and all that crap for WCW. So that's a clear pick. Now, what do? Do they put Ric Flair, the Flair name, that essence that comes with all that glory, or do they put the one that's on fire right now? Because history in 10 years will know who Ric Flair and Charlotte Flair and that whole thing is. In 10 years. Is this going to be a flash in the pan for Becky Lynch? I think that's a huge question. So do they put her, because this is a big deal to have a women's main event on WrestleMania. Yeah. It's nothing. There's everything about it is positive. I think the WWE helps transcend things like we talked about in another segment. Yeah. So this is great. But they have a question. Do they go with what's on fire right now or what's going to play in 10 years on the network?
I agree.
I'll tell you what my theory is on this. I think Charlotte Flair is perfectly suited for a rematch with Asuka to keep the SmackDown women's title relevant. Because if they pull Charlotte from that match and make it a triple threat or make it Charlotte versus Ronda, I think they're killing the SmackDown women's title. I think they're burying it. Because who else on the roster could step up? And I don't think that there's no heat on that now. There is no build-up to a Becky-Asuka match like they have a Becky-Ronda match. Here's what I think they're trying to do. I think they're trying to start a stone-cold Mr. McMahon feud between Becky and Stephanie McMahon. I think they're trying to think past WrestleMania to SummerSlam, where they want to have Becky fight Stephanie.
See, I thought that whoever doesn't end up wrestling Ronda in the main event would just end up wrestling Stephanie at WrestleMania. Now, I know that word that put Asuka, but I'm sorry to say, guys, but WrestleMania is all about trends and all about what's going to make money. Yeah. And right now, Asuka's a huge, she's super popular internally. But if you say Asuka to somebody who watches Raw, just doesn't really know. Yeah. So I think Asuka might end up with,
undercard.
Not under. Well, look, she could end up on the 2-hour preview show. It's just that's the way things go with it. And I think Becky's too hot for Asuka right now. I think Charlotte, it's just they're not going to put their chips on something that's not going to be relevant in 5 or 10 years when it comes to main eventing WrestleMania.
Well, and I think that's also one of the things that hurts them, though. I think that's what we've seen with the Roman experiment for the past 3 or 4 years.
Get well, Roro.
Get well. Yeah, obviously get well. But I think that was a colossal failure, and they kept trying. They kept forcing it because they're like, this is our guy. Yeah. This is the guy we've chosen. 5 years from now, this guy will be the guy. Da-da-da. They just keep throwing their chips in, and the fans have outright rejected it. They outright rejected Charlotte. They have. Now, it's just a temporary rejection, but I think this would be the mistake of choosing Roman over Daniel Bryan. I think this would be the mistake of choosing Batista to win the Royal Rumble over Daniel Bryan that year. Like, this is one of those, if they make the wrong decision, it is going to haunt them. Whereas, yes, I agree with you. If it is a flash in the pan for Becky and it isn't remembered or thought very highly of 5 years
because we've
from
had
now,
AJ Lee's, we've had these names that are just on fire and they're huge and they make the women's division relevant.
Totally.
But they have these 2 to 4 year lifespans where Charlotte Flair does not have a 2 to 4 year lifespan. No. Charlotte Flair is the John Cena of the women's division. She just is. She's the most athletic. She has the most name value. Her work ethic. She's the leader in the locker room. There's all these things. Now Becky Lynch has all of these things too, but it's a question: is Becky Lynch another AJ Lee where she's hot for 3 years, and then she's not, and then what's the next? Who's the next?
I agree because I'm not even sold on Becky Lynch. I mean, I know a lot of people say that she's hot and stuff. I mean, for me, it's not. I don't know. For me, I'm not sold on it 100%.
When she says I'm the man, what does that tell you? And forget about gender and all. Not that we do that, but just the gimmick.
I just feel like the whole gimmick aspect, I'm not sold on it because you just lost to Asuka. So how am I going to...
don't do anything.
Well, the thing is, the story you're trying to tell is that, okay, you're going to take the baddest woman... The baddest woman...
Charlotte lost to Asuka too.
So give Ronda Rousey Asuka. Build up Asuka.
Okay, so let's also remember that... Ronda Rousey's booked for Elimination Chamber in a title match, and it just was announced against Ruby Riott, which I think is a few things going on there. Squash match, also maybe just an opportunity for Becky or Charlotte to screw Ronda to just elevate that.
It's just filler.
Up the heat.
Yeah. It's filler.
It's no different than Brock Lesnar's had these matches too in the past. Yeah, it's like, wait, why is he wrestling
him versus Braun instead of Roman?
Yeah.
Like, it was just to push this.
Yeah, and it's usually the in-between Road to WrestleMania, or, as we would say,
Turnpike to WrestleMania.
That's what it was.
Turnpike to WrestleMania. These matches are typical just to help Brock, or in this case, Ronda, kind of build some steam. She may get the pin, she might not get the pin. Either way, she's going to look super strong, and I think Charlotte and or Becky at some point gets involved.
Well, I think for the women's division, Charlotte right now is The Rock, and Becky right now is Stone Cold. And I think you're not wrong with whichever decision you make, but we saw Charlotte versus Ronda.
I'd like to see what Steve Austin says about you saying she's the Stone Cold.
I mean, just as a metaphor, but sure. Charlotte already had her match with Ronda at Survivor Series. They saw it. We were deprived of the Becky-Ronda match. I think, in a lot of ways, fans feel owed. Yeah. So, whether that means anything to WWE or not. But let's transition to the next topic. Seth Rollins wins the Royal Rumble, obviously going for Brock Lesnar. Lesnar's been standing tall the last few weeks.
I think it's great.
Just keeps coming out.
It's great because Seth Rollins has had to go with Brock. It didn't go his way the first time, but Seth, he's another guy who his name value just doesn't die. He can end up in a mid card. People still love him. They believe he has something about him that people just believe in and gravitate towards. So I think that the WWE they're not going to squash him with Brock. I think that because he's had a match with Brock psychologically, there's more room for success for him here, and just a cool storyline. Everybody likes Seth Rollins.
They also have a history from Seth cashing in Money in the Bank.
There you go.
So it goes back even that far. So they've already told the story of Seth versus Brock, and they're just taking the next chapter.
You fast forward, you think that this whole reasoning of, the last match that Brock had with Finn Balor was not a squash match.
No.
It was a great match.
It was a great match.
Do you think that's
match of the night for that show?
Future of Balor versus Seth Rollins, and they're the two guys probably battling it out?
I sure hope so, because that's sort of what makes sense, looks the best on paper, everything across the board. It's lovely. Let's do that for a whole year, and let's milk it.
Well, I'm happy to call it.
I'm hearing that Finn Balor is going to end up on the 205 Live, which if this is correct, it's absurd.
It's
absurd.
I think Finn's moving to SmackDown.
It's absurd.
Shake up.
Well, let's just take this a step further. I'm calling this from now. I think that the Road to WrestleMania theme has a couple of big storylines, and one is what we've been talking about the whole time: Charlotte and Becky and Ronda, and then Seth and Brock, and all these. But also, let's not forget there's been like 6, 7, maybe more people already who are not signing after April and all this stuff. Yeah. So what I also see happening, and I haven't wrap my mind completely around it yet, but what I see, and I'm probably gonna maybe allude to this every time we do the Turnpike, but I see a Max Exodus storyline happening.
Absolutely.
It's a storyline. Look,
agree.
Undertaker, here's what happened with Undertaker this week. On his social media profile, he took off anything that is
WWE
that's
related.
WWE related, and he put on there $25,000 an hour for bookings. Emailed us.
Well, and he's
Okay?
a company guy, so
And-
you know he's going to do what
And
the company
yesterday,
wants to
and
do.
I don't want to put this person over because I don't know. This probably 99.9% is bullshit. But someone yesterday posted on Facebook, pro wrestling seminar with the Undertaker, 1,000 per person. Let me know who's interested. What that tells me is this: a 1 hour seminar with Undertaker is $25,000. That's 25 people. So this is all very possible.
It is very possible.
Very possible. I've done the math. I looked at it. I'm like, So I think Undertaker is sort of, to me, is like bullshit. I just don't see it, man.
It's too much
Dean
too
Ambrose,
soon.
and Dean Ambrose also put over EC3 in his debut match on SmackDown. It's another thing for us to look into. Oh, they're using Dean Ambrose to put. We're getting trolled by the WWE because of AEW opening and all these things. I think they said, you know what? Let's do something where we're gonna make. We're gonna shake up the rumor.
No, they're trying to
It's
work
just-
everybody.
they rumored
They are.
Randy Orton
I
as
mean,
well.
even the Revival. The Revival has been a constant. Are they going? Are they not? They're getting a huge push right now.
And they're on TV with
FTR.
FTR, which is after Free the Revival or
Free the
After
Revival or After the Revival.
Can we say fuck? I just did.
Just very
You can,
rarely.
yeah,
Not, it
I
is
think
going on YouTube.
We were allotted, I think, one per show. I was told.
One to three at most, and
Three.
space them
I like how
out.
you gave
So
me some
I've had the FCC microscope over my head for the last 5.5 years, so you just gotta give me a
No,
fuck
not yet.
once in a while.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
I can do that.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to call it now. I think Rollins beats the Beast, and that moves on to the next chapter. I think they have to redo what they did with Roman, unfortunately, because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
So they've had the convenience of having.
Did you say
Brock.
that Seth Rollins beats Brock Lesnar?
Yes, at WrestleMania. I think
Wow,
that's a
clean
guarantee.
win?
That's huge.
I think it's a guarantee.
Well, I don't think Seth wins unless it's clean to begin with.
Yeah, it's got to be
he's not
clean
a
'cause he's the
heel
face.
and-
But
Yeah.
I think this is
or he does what he has to do to win.
Yeah, we're
it's
gonna
the
do
Beast.
we'll do an actual prediction show
Yeah,
later,
sure.
but I'm just
Right.
saying I think that's where they're going. They need a new top guy since Roman left. Seth's the obvious choice. Then if Roman does feel better in the next year or two, they could have a Seth Roman feud. I think that Balor is going to SmackDown because he can have better feuds with Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, guys like that.
Yeah, those would be great matches.
Or ideally, I think you do have Finn be the next challenger after Brock. Because I think they can
In
have that
205
SummerSlam rematch for that Universal title.
Anybody have any thoughts on why they kept EC3 with his original name and they didn't make him change it? Because I have my thoughts on it. Anybody have their thoughts? I don't want to taint your thoughts.
I think because Impact released gimmicks, they're
Okay.
just like, let's just keep up on it since they got the broken gimmick and everything fine. Yeah.
I'll go on mine. I absolutely despise EC3, so I don't give a shit.
Do you know him personally?
No, I don't.
No.
I've met him.
He's-
I've met him
I hear he's
personally.
like super nice, but I just
He's-
hate the gimmick.
No, you're kind of on point. You're on track. But anyways, I very strongly believe we're going to see Dixie Carter in the WWE.
Oh, for sure.
I strongly
For
believe
sure.
it.
No, I think they're finding the time. They're
I-
getting her out of her contracts or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think she has no contract. I don't think she has any obligation. I think she's completely been removed from Impact. She's been removed from it. I think business-wise, Panda Energy, I think it's all been severed.
No, and she's done interviews for WWE since then, and I think you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. I think
I'm back.
yeah. No, I think it's bound to happen.
They brought Jeff Jarrett back. So.
They brought Eric Bischoff back very quickly too.
Yeah. So I think it is bound to happen. I think you're absolutely right there. So other things to talk about.
And she's still hot.
Boss and Hug Connection are going into the Elimination Chamber. They're going to win the thing.
No, it's gonna be Tamina and it's gonna be Nia
You're
Jax. I'm
absolutely
telling you.
absurd.
I'm
You're
telling
absurd.
you.
No.
Why
Boss
do we
and
care
Hug,
about this?
Bailey
We don't.
and Sasha, because it's the first ever women's tag team titles. Although it's not, since
Okay,
they had tag titles.
so my
before.
thoughts on this is I alluded to this in another segment, but I believe that this women's tag team title is literally for people who aren't making it in the singles, so they don't
That's it.
Yeah.
just start getting
Tamina
rid of
and
women.
Nia
Well,
Jax.
here's
or
what
else
I'm,
they start cutting the fat.
I'm going to predict this now.
No
Sasha,
pun, so don't look at me like that.
Sasha and Bailey are going to win the titles. They're going to face Trish and Lita at WrestleMania to
Oh.
defend those titles because they need their big moment. They've been pooped on for the past year. Both Bailey and Sasha have been pooped on.
Drink of water for the
So
working
this
man.
is where they're going to get their comeuppance. They're going to get those titles. They're going to hold them till WrestleMania. They're going to beat Trish and Lita at WrestleMania to
Hey,
retain
Isaiah,
those titles.
How many fingers?
Tree.
All right. Anyway, stay on topic, you guys. So I think that's just it.
Where does
it's
Lita and
obvious.
Trish come up?
Because they want the legendary
No,
Raw.
not
Yes.
for the women's title. They were
Yes.
never
Well,
tag team.
But they've been using
they
them as
could
a tag
do that.
team.
It would be cool if they did
It's
that.
for a marquee match.
It's kind of
for
like when they brought
with the
Too Cool
legends.
back.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Too Sexy.
Yes.
But that's like kind of like when they brought Too Cool back, because with the NXT, it was just you give them that rub, give the fans some nostalgia, and they learn from these veterans.
I don't know.
This
I
is
think
also-
it's just that I honestly believe Sasha and Bailey, they're great, and I think they could
They're
technically they could be the singles guy. They could be their
They're
top
not
guys.
gonna. They've done so much wrong with Sasha and Bailey. It is going to take way too long to rebuild them. They did
I
that
do agree with
stupid
that.
therapy
I do agree with
segments.
that, yeah.
They did they're breaking up, they're not breaking up, they're breaking up over and over again. This is a good way to
Let's
just
not say
launch off.
stupid therapy segments because Kane and Daniel Bryan.
I
Was
said
fantastic.
Sasha and Bailey's
okay.
stupid therapy
It was
segments.
dumb.
And I think Nia and Tamina are overrated and need to be off TV.
I agree.
Period.
Well,
1
here's
million
my issue.
percent.
My issue with that was Nia Jax was she basically. It was like historic that she came into the Women's Royal Rumble and stuff. Even though, let's not forget that
It's been done.
it's been
It's
done.
been done 4 times before
It's
that.
been done. But you know what? We have a short memory in wrestling, and a lot of these kids who are watching it and these little girls,
Don't
they
know, yeah.
don't know who China is.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
You know what I'm
for
going
a
to
lot of
call?
reasons.
I'm going to call for Nia Jax for WrestleMania.
But-
Nia Jax, Dean Ambrose.
But yeah, that would be great.
It's happening.
But
I'm
here's-
telling you
as
it's
a tag
happening.
No,
No,
one-on-one.
fighting.
I could see that. But here's my issue with Nia Jax is they're forcing her to be a heel, and it just doesn't even suit her. And she's doing
Yeah.
all these things where she's going after the guys, but she's a heel, and she's not even a
Nothing
good
suits
heel.
her. She
Nothing's
can't
good.
use a microphone.
Here's what she should be.
can't wrestle. Nothing suits Nia
Let
Jax.
her be the she doesn't have to be like. And this, I'm just comparing to the old school Samoan. She doesn't have to be all like, just tribal.
Yeah.
But just be quiet and maybe have a
Like Tamina.
That's
somebody on
fine.
the-
That's
have
what
like a
Tamina
Lana.
does.
Get like a Lana with her or something where there's just this extra flavor and she's just the machine and she kills everybody.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Brock Lesnar has made millions of dollars doing that for the last
Hell,
15
have
years.
her and Tamina be 3-minute warning for the women's division.
We've talked
Done.
about this before. When they take
911
their
for the
big
women's
guys,
division.
They
Done.
take their
Third one?
colossals, man.
Huh?
Who's the third member? You said
No, they were called 3-minute warning, and it was Rosie and
Right, Jamal.
Jamal.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, have Tamina and Nia be the 3-minute warning.
I'll
of the
be
women's
fine with
division.
rest in peace, Rosie.
Yes, that's it. Done.
Hey, Kent's booking this shit. Not
I'm
me.
serious. Like that's it. That's the maximum amount of time they should be on TV. Is to come out and say, you're done, you're out.
All right.
The end.
If they want ratings tonight on Monday Night Raw,
Book me.
live on USA starting at 8 o'clock,
USA.
don't book Jarrett and Road Dogg to sing again, please.
No. Don't book them at all again.
Don't book Baron Corbin either. That's it.
Well, and that's
He's the worst.
let's move on to another thing.
Let's do that.
The McMahon shakeup. Absolute failure.
I'm still waiting for it.
Absolute failure.
We all stand together. We're gonna stand together so we can be stronger. And then, like 5 minutes later, we've never seen them in the same room together.
Yeah.
The only thing we've seen since then is more McMahon presence on television.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin is still main eventing Raw.
How?
Nia Jax is still getting a massive push.
You do guys realize that if you keep talking about Raw and SmackDown for too long, you will end up going into a deep depression and hating pro wrestling.
Yes.
I can't even
Fair
watch
warning.
the 3 hours. I have
Fair
to watch the Hulu version or just go on WWE.com.
I just
and
go
watch
to
the
Facebook
clips.
and look for highlights.
I can't watch the show.
On YouTube, there's a channel where they do. It's called Monday Night Raw in 26 minutes.
Yeah, I believe it.
Perfect.
Very sweet.
That's what you
Believe
need. So, yeah, I think the McMahon shakeup.
But so I can still support the McMahons in WWE. I DVR it so that way they get the ratings.
There you go.
Boom.
Give it to
Fair
him.
enough.
And then I just play it while, like, when I go to work, I'll play it, and I don't. That way, I just let it run. That way, you don't fast forward through the commercials.
Yeah.
Even more points for them because they're like, there's this guy in Val Regal, Florida, that watches the commercials. Ratings.
He's a jerk.
So 5-second thoughts on the next few things, so we can just kind of wrap through this.
I like that idea.
Finn Balor going after Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental Championship. They're talking about it tonight. Thoughts?
We haven't. He had that awesome match with Brock Lesnar, and the biggest letdown was we didn't see the Demon because the Demon.
Yeah, man.
He should have said, "I need to." And I'm stealing this from a household member. My brother gave me this idea, but it's totally true. We need the Demon to be Brock Lesnar. He needs the Demon sometimes to be.
I completely
people.
agree.
He said the
I
same
called that for Royal Rumble, and I was
wasn't here,
disappointed.
sorry.
Oh no, but you're right.
No, you're right.
So Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley for the IC title.
Bobby Lashley is the largest most dominant, athletic guy that needs to retire already.
Wow.
Bobby Lashley.
Because-
He hasn't even had his match with Brock yet.
Bobby Lashley is going to duck and dodge Finn until Elimination Chamber. Finn is going to win that IC
I
title.
think hope Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley matchup in the future sounds good.
It should, but I think they're just not
Kickoff
doing
match.
much.
What?
Shit.
Kick what
Screw
off?
both of them.
Shit.
Wait, hold on. If you think Brock Lesnar's going to be anywhere,
No, he's not,
No,
but I'm
never.
saying it
if
should
he's going to
be.
be on TV before 10 p.m. You're
Honestly,
insane.
Brock hates working the bigger guys. He hates working guys his own size. He loves working little guys.
I know.
We've seen
but
him
we're
put up
talking about
stinkers
money
against.
and, you got
But it
the
doesn't
guy-
matter. He'll
two
take his
MMA
paycheck.
guys.
It's going to be a crap match. It is going to
They
suck.
didn't capitalize on
He had
it.
a terrible match against Braun. He's had a
It doesn't
terrible match
matter,
against
but these
any
are two
big guy.
These are two legitimate athletes.
But it's gonna
They're-
suck.
It doesn't matter. It's about money. They don't care about athletes. You
Yeah,
know?
that's why I say kickoff match. I
Go
don't
out
want to
there.
see it.
Let's
I don't
go
wanna
out
see
there
it.
and take advantage of Lashley, who's got he had some good momentum coming back in, but they just didn't capitalize on him the way they did with they. I think if they would have fully invested with Bobby Lashley as they did with Brock Lesnar,
They
I
would
think
have let him wear a freaking baseball cap. Frontwards. Frontwards.
He's got the dad hat, man.
Anyway,
Take
I
off
think
the
Finn
dad
Balor's
hat.
taking that IC title in
Yes.
about damn time.
He's dressed like he's going to do squats then.
Bobby
If you're about to go do squats, it's leg day.
Bobby shouldn't have had that title to begin with.
No, I
It was
agree.
a shame.
Yeah.
So Finn Balor will get his title with the IC. I think he's going to hold that until WrestleMania.
I'll settle
or
with
until
that.
he gets drafted,
Right.
or whatever the case is. Let's move on to Daniel Bryan with the new title belt.
He ain't
going
He's not
nowhere.
losing that.
He's not going
anytime
nowhere,
soon.
baby.
He's not going to lose that title anytime soon. They
No.
introduced a new belt. He's got to hold it for at least 3 to 6
Plus,
months.
he has muscle now, and
He's got muscle.
It looks
He looks
great.
great, man.
It's awesome the way the contrast between them.
It's so perfect.
great.
No, it really is.
Phenomenal.
And I think he's going to hold. He's obviously going to survive Elimination
They did something
Chamber.
great.
Like he could also be sort of a mix of Bray Wyatt and CM Punk with his own little faction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like kind of a,
I would.
between
You know
that.
what? I think bring
Cult
back
like-
Bray and Harper and have them take that
Like
more
Brian
hippie
could
persona.
do a cult like he doesn't have to
He
do a
could.
cult, but just that like we're all the eco
Commune. They're a
friendly
commune.
heel is amazing.
They're a commune.
I love
Only
it.
he could take something like that and make it that
Hashtag
cool.
Daisy.
I think it's a commune, and that would be perfect.
I ate two hamburgers yesterday.
So anyway, they're going to hold on to their title. He's going to hold on to his title.
Yes.
There's no even consideration for that. I don't know who he's going to face at Mania yet. I can't make a guess right now because he
I'm fine
kind of
with
works
anyone.
through everybody.
I'm fine with anyone. It's Daniel
So-
Bryan.
He's kind of worked through everybody on their main roster or on their like top of the card. So
And they don't seem to be building.
unless we did see a Finn Balor move brands early and face Daniel Bryan for the title at Mania, I don't see who they're another Bryan AJ match, another Bryan Joe match, another like
Isn't Bray Wyatt supposed to be coming back sometime soon?
who cares?
I do. Bray Wyatt's fantastic, bro.
Excuse me. Carry on.
Who cares?
Bray Wyatt, I mean, because why else would you put Eric Rowan? Like, I think he's
No, but I'm
the
saying
worst
he
of
should
the-
be with Bryan. Have Bray, Bryan, Harper, and Rowan as a commune of hippies. I think that would be genius.
It would, but man,
Because I am
who
not-
would take the mic?
Bryan.
Ooh.
Bray could share it.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm saying,
That's all I asked.
like, if you've got your main title holder, your mid-card title holder, and your
Okay.
tag team right there.
Okay.
Right there. So you've got a perfect stable.
And we need factions.
Yeah. So you can have
And-
the commune, have Bryan be their main title holder, have
Yeah.
Bray hold their mid-card title,
Yeah.
and have them hold. Because Bray,
Tables have
even
turned.
if he comes back, he has a lot of work to do to be
does.
even worth watching anymore.
Well,
he does. Unless you're going to get the you missed him pop.
There's so much
but
going
unless,
on, guys. It's not even funny. Like we're also not even really mentioning. Well, I've been alluding to this for a while, but WWE is due for a big set of releases.
Oh, for
Between
sure.
10 and 20 releases.
For
will
sure.
happen. And the fact that it didn't happen after the last WrestleMania tells me I strongly believe that we're going to see some big cuts. I thought we were about to start seeing them like a month ago. Some stuff started to happen, but
yeah.
But also they have
I
this.
think we're going to.
They have this Fox money, and if they are actually
Oh,
afraid of an
yeah.
exodus, they might just have these people sit out
Sit out,
contracts
just to be stingy.
just to be jerks.
Yeah.
Because they can afford it. They got $1 billion now from Fox.
If we can't have him, no one will.
So-
you know.
What else? Oh, the Shane McMahon Miz tag team
Oh,
titles. Please
God.
get those titles off of them soon.
Please. The tag team
I'm
division
bored.
is dead. They are dead.
They've got, and that's
and
the show that actually has a good tag team division.
And that killed Miz's. He had a lot of steam.
Yeah.
As someone people kept saying, dude, this guy, he's the star. He's the star. You know, Miz is the best. And it just kind of killed that.
I was disappointed with the Bryan Miz payoff. It was not worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that they need to break them up. Obviously, they're going to have a match at Mania because Shane has to have a match at Mania. It's going to be Shane Miz after they break up for whatever stupid
Who
reason.
cares? That's
Right,
what I
who
got to say
cares?
about that one. Who
cares?
cares?
R-Truth has the U.S. title.
Hey, now we're talking, baby. R-Truth. Who'd he beat that one night to become champion?
Two people. Rusev and Shinsuke.
Dance break.
Weird, yeah.
We're the fat guys. We can't get up
I
as
can't
fast.
move. I can't get up.
But that's awesome.
R-Truth, man.
So, things to keep in mind for next week. Becky Lynch is coming back to Raw, probably to get bitched at by the McMahons.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins will probably get beat up by Brock again or get some kind of comeuppance for a minute. The Elimination Chamber, they've got all the tag teams now, so they're going to do some more bullshit about that.
Yeah.
Rusev and Shinsuke are doing a tag team thing now, but I think they're just going to continue to beat up on R-Truth and bully him.
Which means he remains champion.
Any other final thoughts about this
I think.
for this week?
I think that there's just way too much going on. So there's just a lot going on. Like every little subject that we can bring up, it can go so deep.
Yeah.
And you know, so at the end of the day, like we could speculate, but I think that what we think is going to happen is kind of not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot changes, and I think we're so far out from WrestleMania happening. We still have a couple of pay-per-views. I think a lot changes. And I think we're in for a ride. So.
Well, and the final thing to remember, all of this is on the whims of a 70-year-old man who wakes up in the middle of the night and will change a main event that moment. So anything could change, but I would say just keep watching the Ronda feud, or the Ronda-Becky feud. I would say keep watching the Elimination Chamber, keep watching the tag team match and the SmackDown.
And tell us what you think, too, for
Please,
sure.
yeah.
And remember, this Turnpike is toll-free.
Toll-free, baby.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week with another Turnbuckle Turnpike to Mania.